Ako si Dr. Eugenio, isang professor sa isang seminary sa Pilipinas at isa din akong pastor sa Church of the Nazarene. And my positions are not, I do not represent the position of the church, or I do not represent the position of the seminary. These are my personal opinions. These are my personal take on the issue. Gender for me is basically yung kasarian mo when you were born. Now I know na may mga complications scientifically and medically, na may mga tao na they were born asexual or intersex, pero yung dalawa yung kanilang kasarian sa pinanganak. Pero basically for me, gender is what you have when you were born. So kung pinanganak ka lalaki, yun yung gender mo. So basically, birth identity, birth sexuality, yun yung gender mo. Yung sexuality naman, yun yung tingin mo sa sarili mo. Kung ano yung projection mo, kung ano yung how do you convey yourself in how you sa gender. So halimbawa, pinanganak kang lalaki, yung gender mo. Pero it can be your sexuality, yung tingin mo sa sarili mo is ganito. This way. Pero I think for me, the ideal is that they connect. Sa biblical principle kasi, sa lalaki ay lalaki. Hindi pwedeng yung gender mo at yung sexuality mo ay mag-iba. So sa religious circle, sa Christianity, they should go together. Hindi pwedeng yung isa ay pinanganak na lalaki, pero yung kanyang things sa kanyang sarili, yung kanyang sexuality, yung kanyang sexual activities, ay hindi para sa kabilang sex. I'm a professor sa isang seminary, Asia Pacific Nazarene Theological Seminary, and so my role here is basically to equip young leaders for Christ-like ministry and excellence sa kanilang ministry sa church. So we train pastors, missionaries, leaders, church leaders, and teachers in different levels. But basically, what we do here is equipping sa mga future leaders and ministers ng church. But I also serve as the pastor of a congregation nearby, Untitled Church of the Nazarene. And so, sa seminary, here at the seminary, ang role ko is a professor. Pagdating sa church, role ko naman is counselor, guide, preacher, so yung mga iba't ibang roles siyempre ng pastor. Siguro yung most of the contact sa conversations about this topic ay nangyayari sa church. Especially sa mga kabataan or sa mga parents na nagtatanong tungkol dito. Of course, these are, although they're not new issues talaga sa lipunan natin, but still, parents tend to ask guidance and questions about mga bagong mga news. Halimbawa, may nakitang balita sa TV, kasi ganito. Tatanong sila, ano po yung biblical principles or ano yung biblical themes na pwedeng sumagot or ano yung stand po natin, pastor, sa ganitong mga bagay. So, yun, usually conversations happen with parents and with the young people then who have friends in the school na merong gender identity confusion or merong struggles. So they ask questions on behalf of their friends. So yung mga nangyayari usually conversation. I don't think there is a lot going on in terms of preaching. Although paminsan-minsan we hear preachings and talks addressing the issue, pero hindi siya at the forefront of all conversations sa church. Because is a very sensitive issue. Whether we like it or not, kasi the church is a relational entity. Ibig sabihin, even though the Bible tells this and that explicitly that homosexuality is sin, lalaki, babae, and marriage is for men and women, or heterosexual union basically. But because we want to be sensitive sa mga members natin na may ganung mga struggles o may ganung mga issues sa ganon, or may mga family members na meron silang anak or pamangkin or mga mahal sa buhay na meron ganito mga issues. because we don't want to offend anybody just just like that. We want to establish maintain yung relationship, and also we don't want to put off yung mga may ganitong issues. So unless tinanong ka, or unless somebody opens up, we don't stand up on the pulpit and say bam 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 bam. It's not really nice from a pastoral position then that you start attacking, kasi you will be branded as attacking people if you do that. So if they ask you questions, why not? If they want to start a conversation, of course, as the pastor, kailangan siya sumagot. Pero apart from that, we don't. I don't really do something like an offensive strategy to address the issues. The church's position kasi is this, dalawang approach sa bagay na to, because it's a very sensitive issue. On the one hand, we see ourselves ministers as prophets. Ibig sabihin, we speak the word of God unashamedly. Hindi kami natatakot, or hindi kami na awkward, or hindi kami napipigilan ng whatever external influence, because our calling as ministers is to proclaim the word. So kailangan faithful kami sa salita ng Panginoon. That's our calling talaga. So as prophets, we speak the word about these issues. So pag may nagtanong sa amin, halimbawa, yung isang magulang nagtanong sa akin, Pastor, yung anak ko po ganito, ano po ba yung sinasabi ng Biblia tungkol dito? I will have the responsibility as a minister, prophet, to speak the truth sa kanya from the biblical standpoint. So kahit na medyo offensive sa yung sagot ko, pero I should be faithful to the word. I guess no. Pero pangalawa, we are also priests. And priests are mediators. Ibig sabihin, although we speak the word, we must speak the word in a reconciliatory way. Ibig sabihin, yes, we speak the word of God on these issues, but we do so with the hope that we usher the person into the presence of God for healing, for renewal, for guidance, and stuff like that. So dalawang approach yun. How do we talk about this? We speak about this as priests, but also as prophets. So we try to balance that. Although sometimes kasi we are misunderstood. Na-emphasize lagi yung prophetic side kasi. And that's the stereotype naman sa Christian church. And maybe it's not the fault of the people to assume that, kasi siguro may mga talagang vocal, especially sa media, na boom, 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 yung kanilang approach sa issue. So, very prophetic naman yung kanilang approach. Pero actually, majority, I think, of pastors approach the issue not only from a prophetic standpoint, but also from a priestly position. That we are here to help. We are here to be conversation partners. We are here to be counselors. Yun yung approach na kailangan ma-realize din ng maraming tao. One of the general culture na kinabibilaan ko, whether the local church, or the seminary, is that both entities belong to the Church of the Nazarene. And in the Church of the Nazarene, pagdating sa gender in ministry, we don't have any problems with that. So we have women pastors, we have women leaders, we have even general superintendents at that highest level ng echelon sa leadership na babae. So in terms of ordination of women, giving of opportunities to women to lead, I don't think there's bias sa ating history ng church for those kinds of issues. So I think we're very open dyan sa kanyang bagay. So in that sense, I can honestly say and confidently say na walang gender bias sa ating iglesia. Now, of course, that is yung sa babae lalaki. Now, if you're asking me tungkol sa yung LGBTQIA, which are gender expressions or gender identity na sinasabi ng iba, then I don't know kung pwedeng tawaging bias eh. Kasi if I understand correctly, bias is something that you feel against something or somebody without any, sort of fact or data or anything like that. Kasi in the Christian faith, we base our actions, we base our decisions sa pananampalataya. Ibig sabihin, we do things based on our conviction. And that conviction is grounded in the scriptures that we follow and obey. Ibig sabihin, it's not really bias. But we are counseling, we are giving opportunities, we are dealing with the LGBTQIA people in the light of the faith that we have based on the scriptures. I just don't know if you can consider that bias. I'm just parang hindi siya fitted, parang hindi siya bias, hindi din siya prejudice, hindi din siya stereotype, but actually based from a long-founding conviction that is external to you. Kasi ang bias more on internal yan, di ba? Feeling mo ganito. But actually, it's sabihin na natin is a shared consciousness arising from the depth of one's conviction because of one's adherence to a particular faith. Kasi lahat ng kilos natin, hindi lang kasi pag bias, sinabi mo, bias, yung position mo sa ganitong bagay, influence ng bias mo. Pero actually, sa Christian faith kasi, our decision-making, hindi lang sa gender, kundi sa money, marriage, career, vocation, handling of finances, family matters, all of these are grounded sa biblical faith. So, ibig sabihin, pati yung ating view sa gender, sa LGBTQIA, grounded in doon. So it comes from a comprehensive worldview, if you want to call it like that, or a comprehensive mindset influenced by a deep faith in the Word of God. So again, I don't know if it can be considered a bias or a stereotype, but I highly doubt. So we don't have any bias. It's just that our position is grounded in a much grander position of all things. So parang merong overarching principle that guides all our thinking, all our ways of life, all our decision makings, and gender issues is just one of them na kailangang maging subject siya ng comprehensive worldview. When I first heard yung SOGIE is when I interacted nabasa ko yung bill ni Senator Angara, and actually Geraldine something, nakalimutan ko yung apelido ng congressman, and parang Kakao, parang gano'n yung isang pangalan. Pero kinumbahin siya ni Angara lahat ng bills nila para sa isang comprehensive anti-discrimination law regarding sa member ng SOGIE. So on the SOGIE itself, medyo naku-confuse ako eh. Kasi una, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, it's very hard for me to separate gender, expression, and sexual activity. Oh, yes. Kasi ang ginagawa ng SOGIE, it tries to create nuances sa gender, expression, identity, blah, 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 and highlight the fact na ang isang lalaki, pinanganak na born male, diba, with male genitalia, although that's his gender identity, born identity, yung kanyang expression, pwedeng iba. Or yung kanyang role, pwedeng iba. Or yung kanyang sexual practice, behavior, ay iba. I'm just not sure if that way of categorizing things and in making those differences can be valid. And if you're gonna do that, are you not creating a schizophrenic person na okay, iba yung projection ko, iba yung pinanganak ako, pero I can be in this way, just like that. I think it will create problems of identity. Instead of helping people to discern their identity, it actually creates more problem sa isang tao. Okay, ano ang SOGIE mo? I'm born male, my gender expression is, I don't know, female. My gender preference o yung gender, how I project myself is still lalaki o pwedeng babae. And my sexual orientation, yung attraction is both. Mas makukonfuse ang tao dun eh, di ba? Parang mas convoluted masyado yung isang tao, yung identity ng isang tao tuloy, mas lalong na-confuse. Kasi sa biblical standpoint, pag pinanganak kang lalaki, yung identity mo lalaki, expression mo lalaki, yung role mo sa society lalaki, at yung attraction mo pang lalaki. Ibig sabihin, attracted ka sa opposite sex. So, mas conscious, mas clearly defined yung mga boundaries, yung expectations, gano'n. Pero sa SOGIE, mas maraming categories ngayon. I think will create more confusion sa mga kabataan, sa mga tao, about ano ba talaga ako. Okay, so my gender identity is male, my gender expression is iba, my gender role is iba, my sexual attraction is iba ulit. So ano ako? Yun yung problema ko dun sa SOGIE. I think you can create more confusion sa isang tao. Interaction ko naman sa SOGIE, dun sa bill, I understand, and actually, the Philippine Council of Evangelical Churches, which I'm a part of, sa Theological Commission, we actually met together to discuss yung bill ni Angara. And actually, the consensus of the group is we support the anti-discrimination element. Because the church, kagaya nga ng prophetic and priestly role na sinabi ko kanina, the prophetic side is, it is true naman kasi na history reveals that members of the LGBTQIA have been oppressed by society. They, for example, yung sa CR, pang lalaki, pang babae. So, ang isang, halimbawa, nagpa-transplant na dating lalaki, ngayon babae na. Pero, saan siya magsisiyar? Kasi, whether we like it or not, sa Philippine society, medyo may, hindi man tayo balasubas na yung mag-verbal na mag-assault. Pero, tayo mga Pilipino kasi, we make fun of people. We have a very dark sense of humor, and we are insensitive to this to this hurtful na pala yung ginagawa natin. So, hindi man siya oppressive na violent, oppressive siya mentally, psychologically sa ating mga tao. So, we actually support, the council supports yung equality, giving them the freedom to speak. Karapatan yun ng tao. Karapatan yun ng lahat ng tao na magsalita, to express themselves, to receive government benefits, dahil tao din sila kagaya natin. Whether we are male or female or gay, lesbian, bisexual, we all share the same public rights to speak, to receive government benefits, to receive health services, to have employment. All of us deserve and have the right to access those kinds of things. Pero ang problema ng bill kasi is medyo oppressive din siya. Meron siyang element na it highlights the rights of the oppressed with the equivalent parang oppression din dun sa mga tao na against or mayroong inclination to speak negatively against LGBTQIA issues. So, halimbawa, kasama dun sa bill yung hindi ka na, wala nang pwedeng tao ang pwedeng magsalita against homosexuality as an immoral act. Well, again, that's oppressive naman. Sa ibang grupo naman, it's oppressive naman. So, if the SOGIE bill will only put up equality as its banner and tanggalin nila yung oppressive element, then it would be, I think, better then. Otherwise, you give people rights to oppress naman others.
To stay up
Yes.
others. Right.
You sanction others to oppress others naman. And that will be a law. So you allow people to speak, but at the same time, you prevent others from speaking. So, hindi siya balance. So, as long as the law, the SOGIE community, the anti-discrimination bill passes and it's equal rights, that's better. But the church has no qualms, has no issues giving rights to the LGBTQIA or to the SOGIE people, proponents, to have basic rights of education, employment, health benefits, all of these things, kailangan nila yun. And the church, as a prophetic community, should voice the concerns of the oppressed as well. Kasama natin sila, and the church should advocate for their rights as well. Yun yung isang prophetic role ng church sa community. If they're oppressed, then they should be lifted up. Yun ang role ng church. Pero wag naman sanang to the point na the church is oppressed as a counter attack dahil they have experienced oppression before. Ano yan, yung hindi naman maganda talaga. I think everywhere in the world, the media is a very powerful communication tool and also an opinion sharing tool. So I think malaki talaga yung influence ng media in the consciousness ng tao. Again, not only in information giving, but also in the sharing of opinions. Especially if somebody with high position speaks sa media, the voice of that person is very powerful indeed. And we cannot deny that. In movies, in entertainment, lahat ng to, they can offer either subliminal messages or even explicit content, either pro or against male, female, LGBTQI, even movies, especially movies kasi they stir up your emotion eh. Kasi ang balita kasi, they are treated as facts, information. So I think powerful. Pero movies, they're very powerful tools to, kasi movies affect the mind but also the heart. Yung pathos mo, you suddenly feel parang you put your feet on people's shoes. Mararamdaman mo yung kanila nararamdaman. You empathize with the oppressed. So, alimbawa, pag isang movie ay inoppress yung isang homosexual, my goodness, that's a very powerful tool to communicate how bad oppression is. Maybe subliminally or, I don't know, implicit communication, those are powerful tools. Pero sa Philippines, medyo nababahala lang ako kasi halimbawa in GMA with their Itbulaga, halimbawa, very explicit yung kanilang content na yung homosexual contents, yung katabi din, yung katabi, yung kabilang network, ABS-CBN, ganun din, si Vice Ganda, ganun din. I think what's happening, especially with media, is normalization of gender multiplicity. Parang gano'n. Norming out. Ginagawang parang normal way of life, normal facet of human existence, normal facet ng relationships, yung babae-babae, lalaki-lalaki. I think ang social media ngayon, especially among the youth, or the social media is the source of information, the source of news, the source of opinion, the source of relationships. So basically, the social media is one of the most powerful communication tools and most influential sa shaping ng Filipino mentality, Filipino values, Filipino psyche, Filipino priorities, and stuff like that. And I think whether we like it or not, the social media can be used either to promote yung ganung mga bagay, or to create negative sentiment about these things. Okay? To sow seeds of discord, parang ganun. So the social media can be used as a tool to promote either equality or stuff like that, or it can be used to promote negative sentiments. Kasi yun na naman naging problema eh. It's okay to have your opinion shared, pero pag destructive opinion, medyo yun ang masakit. So it's either from the church sharing, from a churchman or a church person sharing a negative sentiment saying, blah blah blah, LGBTQA, you go to hell, kinds of statements. Those are destructive statements. Tapos yung mga nag-gather pa ng opinions and responses na if you attack something kasi, you will receive the same equal violent response. On the other hand, ganun din ang LGBTQI community, yung mga gender proponents, if they attack the church, ganun din naman. Gagaani din sila ng mga batikos. Now, whether we like it or not, ang social media na ngayon, ang primary sharing o primary platform pag-share ng opinions. And because you are protected by geographical distance, na hindi ka pwedeng masapak, anonymity, you can say whatever you want. You can curse, you can be as radical as you wanna be. So, ang nangyayari, the social media presents extremes. Hindi mo alam kung talagang ito ba talaga yung sentiment ng tao? How genuine is this? Will this person be able to say this in front of the person? Halimbawa, sinabi niya, go to hell. Okay. Pag face-to-face ba, masasabi mo ba yun? Halimbawa, sabi niya sa'yo, bakla ako. Sabi mo ba sa kanya, you're gonna go to hell, dude? Face-to-face? I don't think so. Hindi mo kayang sabihin yun eh. Pero ano nangyayari sa social media, you can say whatever you want to say. You are protected by geographical distance, you are protected by anonymity, and what can people do to you? Wala. So, nagiging radical yung conversation ngayon sa social media, which is, I think, very unhealthy. Sa akin, if you do not have anything constructive to say, huwag mo nang sabihin. If it's just to destroy the church or to destroy a homosexual, to destroy a lesbian, or to destroy anybody, huwag mo nang gagawin. Kasi you will just create negative sentiments against yourself, against somebody else, and against relationships. So social media is a great thing, but it can be used like this. And I know, I've read several, pati nga ako nakapag-participate na rin sa ganitong mga discussions online, sa wall mismo ng isang tao, nandun yung discussion, bam 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 bam. Kasi, once you are attacked, talagang you will respond in kind. So hopefully the social media, we must be aware that the social media is a platform for relationships. For relationship building, to maintain relationships, to get connected with friends wherever they are in the world. It's not a platform for political maneuvers. It's not a platform to share your opinions that are destructive of others. It's not a platform to promote your own personal agenda. It's not a platform for you to create disturbances. So I hope that people will be more careful and sensitive in using the social media, especially kapag isa kang powerful person or a person with influence. Kasi whatever you post on the social media, people will follow. People will read. So if you're the president, or if you're the senator, if you're a pastor with your congregation, if you're a professor like me with your people, whatever you post online will gather attention. So, mas magandang post something constructive. Or if you don't like an issue, stay silent. Otherwise, mga kabataan, mga friends mo, they will all see your post and you'll either ruin the relationships or you'll create disturbances. And yung repercussions, baka hindi mo kayang bitbitin. Yeah. So that's the danger and the beauty maybe of social media.